The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria said although all international flight operations have been suspended, passengers can still travel within Nigeria unhindered. The airport authority is also asking all passengers and other stakeholders to adhere strictly to all travel instructions and guidance in the interest of all. Four aviation unions in Nigeria have commended the decision of the federal government to suspend all international flights into Nigeria in a bid to halt further importation of COVID-19 virus into the country. They are also calling on various managements in the industry to prioritize the provision of sanitary apparels, consumables like facial masks, hand sanitizers, and protective clothing to all frontline workers who interface with passengers, even at the local airports and with customers in their offices, as well as at their duty posts. The unions add that there is need to provide insurance cover for its members in the event of any fatal consequence from COVID-19 in their line of duty. While the COVID-19 ravages the world now, the recovery of airlines will later in the year take center stage. And ahead of that, the president of travel agents in Nigeria has lent a voice to the establishment of a national carrier that is strictly private sector driven and one that will emerge in a transparent process.
As a giant of Africa, as the biggest economy in Africa, I think we need to have a national carrier. Now, the composition of the national carrier is what now becomes very important. The structure can be looked into. How do we want the equities to be placed? Those are the issues that we need to look into and make sure that it's properly structured. I want a structure where there is a huge private participation. The government is in the business of regulation, not running a company or an airline. The government should have an equity and allow the private sector to drive their equity on their behalf. That's what we need.
The International Air Transport Association has estimated that industry passenger revenues could plummet $252 billion, or 44% below 2019's figure. This is a scenario in which severe travel restrictions last for up to 3 months, followed by a gradual economic recovery later this year. IATA's previous analysis of up to $113 billion loss was made on 5th March 2020 before the countries around the world introduced sweeping travel restrictions that largely eliminated the international air travel market. The IATA boss has said the airline industry faces its gravest crisis. Within a matter of a few weeks, our previous worst-case scenario is looking better than our latest estimates. But without immediate government relief measures, there will not be an industry left standing. Airlines need $200 billion in liquidity support simply to make it through. Some governments have already stepped forward, but many more need to follow suit.
The aviation industry is an important contributor to economic development. It has not only increased world trade activity by enabling faster and easier movement of passengers and goods, but has also provided jobs for millions of people. The Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting (ARFF) is a special category of firefighting that involves the response, hazard mitigation, evacuation, and possible rescue of passengers and crew of an aircraft involved in a typical airport ground emergency.
In aviation industry, we are regarded as the last line of defense in the safety chain. So when every other thing fails, the aerodrome rescue and firefighting service must be able to do the needful. So an aircraft or airports are categorized based on aerodrome rescue and firefighting category, based on what we're able to provide. So that is what gives an airport its category. So it's the rescue services that is available in a port determines the category of that airport. We have had instances where even foreign aircrafts, we attended to them and they gave us commendation. Because the important thing is to get alert early and respond as quickly as possible.
The airport is categorized into Cat 9, and by Cat 9 there are certain requirements that is involved. We are supposed to have by standard 3 major vehicles, but I can bet you right now we have about 6 major vehicles. We have about 4 stations here. In my substation I have another vehicle there, and each of these vehicles carry different capacities of water as required. By standard, the requirement for water is 23,400 liters, but I can bet you each of the vehicle. One vehicle is carrying 11,000 liters, another one 12,500 liters. By the time you multiply, what we have on wheel right now is about 60,000 liters.
The principles of safety and security, including fire coverage or protection, is critical at any airport. Fire coverage is classified from 1 to 10, and response to fire requires speed. For any emergency, the vehicle carries out a pump and roll action. Airport fire incidents can occur at any time. Ensuring that aircraft, passengers and the terminal are safe also rests on continuous training of firemen. Then to the firefighting watchroom, where aircraft operations of landing and takeoff is monitored. The office also serves as a communication hub for fire officers that aids the delivery of services.
Whenever an emergency information is received from the watchroom attendants, the first thing they do is to activate the fire alarm bell. This sends signals to the men at the bay that there is an emergency, and then that is followed by the public address system. The emergency information is relayed through the public address system, stating the location, the type of emergency. All the information will be given to the crew, and then the next thing, the crew proceeds to the location of the incident.
In here, equipment lines the space to aid the work of firemen.
This is called the 118.1 frequency. It's a monitoring frequency. So we use it to monitor information between the pilot and the control tower. Whenever an aircraft is within 10 nautical miles of the station, we can monitor the information. So in case there's any incoming or outgoing outbound aircraft that has an emergency, the watchroom attendant quickly picks it, alerts the men, and then the emergency procedure will be activated.
The mass casualty potential of an aviation emergency is high, so the speed with which emergency response equipment and personnel arrive at the scene of an emergency is of great importance. Their arrival and initial mission to secure the aircraft against all hazards, particularly fire, increases the rate of survival of both passengers and crew on board.
And that's all we have for you on the program. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi. See you next time.